Dobrý den. I would like to talk about the exhibition activity of the Mánes Association of Fine Artists in relation to Slovenian modern art in the 1920s. The relationship between Czech and Slovenian culture has a rich history spanning many years. The two nations first established connections during the Austro-Hungarian Empire, united by a shared sense of Slavic solidarity. The Slovenian and Czech people sought to draw closer, particularly in the fields of literature, music, and theater. However, it is also important to note the significant ties that developed in the visual arts, which grew stronger through the 19th century. Many graduates of Prague Technical University found work in Slovenian as architects, contributing to several noteworthy public buildings in Ljubljana. Czech painters were entranced by the Slovenian landscape and often depicted Alps in their works. Other artists found employment in Slovenian as illustrators for periodicals or through smaller painting commissions. Slovenian artists initially struggled to find success in the Czech lands. Save for brothers Janez and Jurij Šubic, their close relationship with Czech artists who belonged to the painters of the so-called generation of the National Theatre, helped to deepen and solidify the ties between the two cultures. Since the end of the 19th century, many Slovenian students went to Prague Academy of Fine Arts. They were motivated by the worsened conditions for Slavic students at art schools, especially in Vienna, Dresden, and Munich. The Prague Academy was inclined towards the study of South Slavic students and thus contributed to lively artistic exchanges between Czech and Slovenian artists. Some of the Slovenian painters remained in Prague for several years after completing their studies. After the collapse of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the relationships between Slovenes and Czechs deepened even further. The newly formed Czechoslovakia and the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes sought not only political but also cultural convergence in the fields of education, popular enlightenment, librarianship, science, literature, and visual arts. In the 1920s, artists began gradually entering the art scene who had been trained at the Prague Academy of Fine Arts, indicating a shift towards modern movements. This time, the ground for the acceptance of new art was better prepared. Students of the Prague Academy, Franz and Tone Král and Veno Pilon, became the main representatives of Expressionism. Božidar Jakac and Miha Maleš, after their training in Prague, significantly contributed to development of Slovenian graphics. It is evident that Prague played an important role in the development of many of them. The Association of Fine Artists Mánes was one of the key artist associations that helped to open Czechoslovak art, or back then Czech art, to Europe. At the turn of the century, a new era began when the Czech art sought to open up more towards Europe. A significant influence on Czech art of this period were exhibitions of contemporary European art organized in Prague by the Artistic Association Mánes. Mánes was founded in 1887 as a generational association of students from the Academy and the School of Arts and Crafts, in direct reference to the slightly older association of Czech students Škréta in the then artistically more progressive Munich. The chosen name of the association, which refers to Josef Mánes, famous 19th century Czech artist, and the person of its first honorary chairman, Mikuláš Aleš, were a programmatic declaration of allegiance to the values of Czech art by young artists, initially not only visual artists. The initial activities of the association did not exceed the framework of student entertainment. Meetings were held in pubs and had rather playful character. The key turning point came in 1890s with the arrival of a strong, ideologically aware generation, when the association's activities gained intensity and programmatic clarity. In 1896, they began publishing the magazine Volné směry, which soon evolved into an exclusive periodical dedicated solely to fine arts of the highest standards. The initial collaboration with writers soon proved unsatisfactory. In addition to the original demand for the emancipation of Czech art, There was a growing resistance to academism, outdated teaching methods, and exhibition practice. The ambitions of the young accelerated contemporary tendencies towards anarchism, decadence, but especially fresh experiences with new Parisian artistic trends. All of this was manifested in the first association exhibition in the spring of 1898. Around the year 1900s, contacts with progressive associations and personalities from corners of Europe were intensified, primarily from Paris. The exhibition of Auguste Rodin in 1902 and Edvard Munch in 1905, organized by Mánes in Prague, were of significant importance for the further development of not only Czech art. With passing years, the merits and prestige of the association grew, as did its membership base. The increasing number of association members and the constant confrontation with new trends led to several waves of differences of opinions and conflicts. This was most strongly manifested in 1911, when a whole group of younger artists left Mánes and founded the group of plastic artists. Many of them, such as Vincent Beneš, Emil Fila, Josef Gočár, Václav Špála, etc., returned to Mánes after the World War I, forming another solid core. For more demanding ventures, Mánes used exhibition halls in the municipal house, which they shared not easily with other artistic associations. A key milestone was the construction of the magnificent Functionalist Association building by Otakar Novotný. Otakar Novotný, a Czech architect and student of Jan Kotěra, was a chairman of Mánes from 1913 to 1915, and then again from 1920 to 1941. Since 1923, he served as a substitute professor at the Academy of Fine Arts in Prague, replacing the deceased Jan Kotěra. In 1929, he was appointed a full professor of architecture at the State School of Industrial Arts in Prague. He also worked as an editor of magazines published by the association. From 1911 to 1914, he was the editor of the magazine Styl, and in 1915, he was the editor of the magazine Volné směry. The expensive project of constructing the new association building was subsequently supported by significant social connections of the renowned association at the time, as well as considerable state and private subsidies. After the opening of the building in 1940, Mánes expanded its already extensive activities. The interwar period between the two wars was characterized by a decent exhibition activity in Prague. The organizer of art exhibition was now increasingly the new state, but the initiative remained with artistic associations, primarily with Mánes, followed by the Umělecká beseda, and occasionally also with the Jednota výtvarných umělců, which in relationship with foreign countries remained faithfully primarily to the Slavic program. Shortly after the end of World War I, it was again France with which the independent Czechoslovak Republic established relations. This was only logical, as friendly relations with France and specific cooperation in the field of visual culture, spanning several decades, had already borne fruit. Now, this cooperation received support along the official political line. The first post-war presentation of foreign art was a small exhibition of French war posters, followed by an exhibition of French graphics and drawings. Franco-Czechoslovak cultural relations then culminated in the so-called state purchase of art in 1923. In parallel with the cultural policy directed towards France, the Czechoslovak state developed another significant line of cultural relations with foreign countries by fostering relations with Slavic nations. This line, which primarily but not exclusively developed relations with Russia, can be seen as a continuation of the 19th century ideas. If we overlook exhibitions of individuals and exhibitions where Slovenian artists were represented within Czech artistic group at the Academy of Fine Arts in Prague, separate comprehensive exhibition of Slovenian art in Czechoslovakia began only after World War I. Interestingly, the first of these took place in 1924 in Hodonín, which is a small Moravian city. On this occasion, one issue of the Hodonín Art magazine was dedicated to Slovenian art. Following the Hodonín exhibition was the exhibition of contemporary Slovenian art organized by the Committee of Artistic Association Umělecká beseda in Prague's Alšova Síň from September 5th to 28th of 1926. In 1924, as part of strengthening cultural cooperation with Slavic countries, Mánes organized a traveling exhibition that presented contemporary Czech art first in Ljubljana, then in Zagreb, and finally in Belgrade. From there, the artworks returned to Ljubljana and were shipped back to Prague with Czechoslovak expedition. Members of Mánes submitted applications to the exhibition committee, which selected the works to the exhibition based on the submitted pieces. Over 200 works were exhibited by both the younger and older generations of artists. Nevertheless, the entire exhibition was dominated by rather traditional or moderately modern artistic expression. Among the older generation, graphic artists such as Max Švabinský and Jaromír Strety Zampony were represented. Among the younger generation, artists like Rudolf Kremlička, who was a member of the Tvrdošín group, founded in 1918 and disbanded in 1924, participated. Although the Tvrdošín group programmatically aimed to continue the pre-war avant-garde generation, especially Cubism, its second wing, represented by Rudolf Kremlička and Jan Zrzavý, focused on a more classical position within visual modernism. In sculpture, for example, Josef Mařadka was represented, who before the war dedicated himself to expressionism, but during the First Republic period, he mainly focused on portraits and monumental creations celebrating the new democratic republic. The entire event had the character of a sales exhibition, so visitors who saw individual venues in the kingdom of Serbs, Croats and Slovenes had the opportunity to purchase the exhibited works. The call to participate in the exhibition applied not only to paintings and to sculptures, but also and especially to drawings and graphics, which were well represented due to lower transportation costs, but which proved to be problematic towards the end of the exhibition. After the transport of works from Belgrade to Ljubljana, from where the works were to return to Czechoslovakia, all the works had to be unpacked again due to export permits, and it was confirmed that some of the works, especially graphics, were damaged. This was because, unlike the premiere in Ljubljana, where the graphics were glazed, they continued without solid adjustment. The National Gallery in Ljubljana commented on the damage as following, quoting, "We sent the transport well packed. Graphics, 110 of our glazed frames. It arrived undamaged in Zagreb. From Belgrade we received many shreds. We report to you the following damage. Some glass panes of architecture sheets are broken. Pokorny's plaster has broken art. Some frames are scrapped. Graphic sheets by Konupek, Kremlička, Rambousek and others were in large glazed frames in Ljubljana. Due to their size, we could not send the frames to Zagreb and Belgrade, where the sheets were not framed. Therefore, they are damaged by nails and falling to the ground, for example, Kremlička. Shows imprints of the nail, and Silovsky's artwork Vítkovice has a hole and it's crumpled. Vic's artwork is torn. For this damage, we do not bear any responsibility. We convey to you the damage in Ljubljana in the attachment." In a letter from Franz Mesesnel addressed to Mánes, the aforementioned cited the lack of communication with the Belgrade side, with whom they were in contact only through the Czechoslovak expedition. Despite certain organizational difficulties, the traveling exhibition became the basis for further cooperation, culminating in the exhibition of Slovene modern painting in Prague. The exhibition of Slovenian modern painting, held under the auspice of the Association of Fine Artists Mánes in Prague's Municipal House from September 7 to October 9 of 1927, was accompanied by a fairly extensive catalogue. This exhibition can be understood as a direct result of the cooperation initiated at the traveling exhibition. The original intention was to present a broad representation of South Slavic art, which would be divided into three national entities: Slovenes, Croats, and Serbs at the Prague exhibition. However, due to financial and organizational reasons, it was only possible to organize an exhibition of Slovenian art. The exhibition was intended as an overview of Slovenian paintings over the past 50 years. The chairman of the Association of Fine Artists, Mánes, Otakar Novotný, built on the cooperation from the traveling exhibition held in 1924 and invited Slovenian artists to organize an exhibition in Prague under the auspice of Mánes in 1925. The organization on the Slovenian side was taken over by the Committee of the National Gallery, with Franz Mesesnel elected as the secretary. Originally, the exhibition was planned for the autumn of 1925. The event had the support of the Ministry of Education and National Enlightenment, Milan Hodža, as well as many other important cultural and political figures from Czechoslovakia and Slovenia, such as Ivan Hrybar, Matija Murko, and Oton Župančič. Visitors could view oils, watercolors, drawings, and graphics. The introductory word to the exhibition catalogue was written by the art historian Franz Mesesnel, who played a significant role in bringing Czechoslovak and Slovenian art together after the World War I. Mesesnel studied at the Faculty of Arts of Charles University from 1920 to 1922 and defended his dissertation on Janec Wolf. He was interested in contemporary visual art, and some of his Prague friends were Slovenian students at the Academy of Fine Arts, especially Veno Pilon and Božidar Jakac. The exhibition featured artists from both older and younger generations. Among the older generation were Jurij and Janec Šubic. Mesesnel in the catalogue recalls their contacts with Vojtěch Hinajs and joint trips to Rome and Florence. Janec Šubic was a student of Hans Makart for some time and contributed to the decoration of the National Theatre in Prague. Jurij created decoration for Schlieman's villa in Athens, from where Vojtěch Hinajs invited him to Paris to collaborate with him on his paintings for the National Theatre. Another represented artist was the prematurely deceased Josip Petkovšek, who mainly focused on genre painting. Ivana Koblicová's work underwent significant development, which was evaluated positively by Mesesnel in the catalogue. Her development trajectory moved from realistically conceived genre and landscape painting to a unique reflection of Impressionism. Her style was characterized by a departure from traditional painting techniques and then incorporation of new methods that emphasize the use of light and color to capture a scene's essence. It's worth noting the pedagogical work of Anton Aschbe, another painter who was represented in the exhibition. Aschbe founded his own school in Munich, which attracted painters from both European and American background. He was also associated with writers like Frank Wedekind, and his studio was visited by notable artists, for example, Czech artist Ludvík Kuba, but also by Vasily Kandinsky. Additional, Aschbe's school produced a significant generation of Slovenian painters, including Richard Jakopič, Ivan Grohar, Matěj Sternen, and Matija Jama, all of whom were also exhibited in Prague. Rosa Kleinová, the wife of Matej Sternen, was similarly represented. For all these artists, the experience from Munich was important, but it was the work in plein air that helped them find their personal style, which gave rise to the specific phenomenon of Slovenian Impressionism. Mesesnel further mentioned in the catalogue the founding of the groups Sava and the club Vesna. Another artist represented at the exhibition was Ivan Vavpotič, who besides Paris also attended the Prague Academy, and Fran Tratník, a student of Hannu Schweiger. Among the younger generation represented at the exhibition were the brothers Fran and Anton Král, Veno Polin, Gojmír Anton Kos, Božidar Jakac, and Miha Maleš. Mesesnel concluded his essay in the catalogue as follows. Just like any exhibition bound to a certain program or other limitations, is necessarily incomplete, so is the collection of Slovenian modern painting, which covers 50 years of development, not without gaps. Nevertheless, We hope that as presented to the Czechoslovak public, it will show a part of the artistic creativity of Slovenes, who, based on their culture, preserved their individuality in difficult times and cultivated it in brighter times of young freedom. In 1927, Mánes organized a total of 20 exhibitions, 4 of which were major ones, held at the Municipal House. The exhibition of Slovenian modern art coincided with a posthumous exhibition of the sculptor Otto Gutfreund, which unfortunately partially overshadowed it. Gutfreund's exhibition attracted 4,124 visitors, while the Slovenian art exhibition had 2,086 visitors. This was followed by a Mánes members exhibition, which attracted over 4,000 visitors, and an exhibition of Polish art, which, perhaps due to the patronage of the president Tomáš Garrigue Masaryk, had 3,887 visitors. The Polish art exhibition was also larger in scope, with 393 works exhibited. The Volné Směry journal did not offer a more comprehensive evaluation of the Slovenian modern art exhibition. The 25th edition largely focused on the prematurely deceased Otto Gutfreund, and only a text by the former editor-in-chief of the Ljubljana newspaper Slovenec, Isidor Cankar, about Richard Jakopič, was dedicated to Slovenian artists. It is evident that Prague, as a place where Slovenian artists acquainted themselves with art, played an important role in the development of many of them. From the comparison of the development of art and the conditions for its development in Slovenia and the Czech lands from the late 19th century to the end of the World War II, it is clear that Slovenian artists endeavored to gradually align themselves with contemporary trends in European art. The Academy of Fine Arts in Prague remained expanding the creative horizons of numerous Slovenes who studied there in their interwar period. Although Czechoslovak interwar exhibition activities were primarily oriented towards France, not only the activities of the Mánes Association of Fine Artists, but also other artistically active organizations demonstrate a persistent interest in establishing cultural and artistic connects with Slavic countries, in which the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats and Slovenes held a specific position. Czech galleries and museums today house only a few works by Slovenian artists. The National Gallery in Prague, for example, holds works by Richard Jakopič, Ferdo Vesel and Franz Stratník, which would certainly warrant further exploration in the future, with the crucial need to supplement fragmentary data from Czech archives with Slovenian sources. Thank you for your attention.